Hey there, Mike Robbins here. I want to talk about one of the most important and challenging words in the English language, which is no. And in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about both hearing and saying no, why it can be hard, and more importantly, how can we embrace this to benefit us in life, in business, in everything that's important to us. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really like hearing no, and I don't like saying no. And it's part of life. It's part of work. It's part of almost everything important that we do. So let's talk a little bit about this. Why is it so hard for us to hear no? We want to hear yes. We don't want to get rejected. We don't want to hear no when we make a request, when we ask someone out on a date, when we ask for the business. Hearing no is disappointing. It can actually be painful and challenging. I remember the very first sales job I ever had. One of the senior sales leaders in the company said to me, "How do you feel about hearing no?" And I could tell it was a little bit of a trick question, and I was trying to answer it the right way. And I said, "I don't like it." He's like, "Well, get over it." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Every time you hear no, you're closer to yes." And I remember thinking about that. In those days, I was selling internet advertising, not my favorite job, but something that I did in the early part of my career. And over the years of having my own business and doing a lot of sales and business development, one of the things that I've noticed, while I still don't love hearing no, I'd always much prefer to hear no than either nothing at all or maybe, especially if that maybe is going to eventually lead to a no. And as painful and disappointing as no can be, if we can get to no much sooner, then we can move on and get closer to a yes. Now, maybe it's a yes from the same person, or maybe it's a yes from someone else. But a lot of times, our fear of hearing no actually holds us back from asking for what we want, right? The salesperson who won't ask for the sale because they're afraid to hear no and get rejected, right? The person who really wants to ask someone on the date, or wants to ask for some help, or wants to ask for some time off, doesn't ask for it because they're afraid they'll get judged or they'll get rejected or it won't work out the way they want it to. So then what happens? We don't ask. One of my favorite sayings is the answer is always no if you don't ask. So the more we can get comfortable with hearing no, not that we like it, not that we're excited about it, but that we understand it is a very appropriate response, and one that we're going to hear often depending on what we do. And that's okay. What would your life look like? What would your career look like if you weren't so afraid of hearing no? What would you ask for? What requests would you make? What support could you use in your life right now that you're not receiving simply because you're not letting people know that you need that support? So I understand and can relate with the challenge and the fear of no, but the more willing we are to ask, the more able we are to hear no, and try not to take it so personally. Yes, sometimes it is a personal rejection. Sometimes the person says, "No, I don't want to go out with you," or "No, I don't want to buy that from you." And depending on your work, like my work is super important to me. It means a lot. It's very personal. I'm passionate about it. So when I hear no, it's hard for me not to take it personally, but it's just part of life. It's just part of business. Now, saying no, equally, if not sometimes more challenging for a whole bunch of different reasons, right? I'm someone in life who, for better or worse, likes people to like me, likes to please people, right? That can be a problem, as many of us know. So sometimes saying no can upset or disappoint other people. People want us to do things, want us to go places, want us to help them with things. And sometimes the answer is just no, I don't want to do that, or I can't do that, or I don't feel like doing that, or that's not a fit for me, right? We also sometimes, I think of myself as a yes person, someone who's open to opportunities and possibilities, who likes to show up for other people, who likes to be there, who likes to take things on, has quite a bit of capacity, I think. But so sometimes saying no, it feels negative. It feels weird. It feels rude. It feels disrespectful. Someone has helped me. Someone's been there for me. Someone said yes to me. I should say yes to them. But how often in life have you found a situation where you said yes, but you really wanted to say no, and then you were bitter and you were resentful? It's actually disrespectful to the other person, because then we figure out, through the process, or maybe we knew it right up front, I didn't really want to do this thing, and now I'm mad at them and I'm mad at myself. I'd rather hear no from someone, even if it's painful, if that's really their answer. But it sometimes can be hard for us to say no. We're afraid of the ramifications, right? There are consequences to saying no. We say no to our boss. We say no to our spouse. We say no to our children. We say no to our in-laws, to whoever. There can definitely be consequences. So we have to be responsible for that. We have to be aware of that. But no is essential if we're going to create healthy boundaries, if we're going to take care of ourselves, if we're going to manage our time, if we're going to reduce our stress, if we're going to focus on the things that are most important to us. Every no gets us closer to a yes, like, yes, what I really want. Yes, what's really important to me. So if it's not a whole, full-bodied yes, as people like to say, it's probably a no. So what can we do to get more comfortable both hearing no and saying no? One thing we can do is just start asking for more things, not being pushy, not being, obnoxious and selfish about it, or sort of spoiled. But like, the more we ask, the more we're going to hear no, but we'll also hear some yeses too. And the more comfortable we'll get with hearing no. If we don't ask for anything, or we rarely really go for it, we rarely ask for help or support, we rarely ask for the business or whatever it is that we want, we're doing that to protect ourselves from hearing no. But if we start asking more, yeah, we'll hear some more no's, but we'll also hear some more yeses. Another thing that we can do is start practicing just saying no. No is a complete sentence. We don't have to have a bunch of preamble, a bunch of excuse, a bunch of explanations. Sometimes it's just no, or no, thank you. Well, thanks for asking. It's a no for me. It's not a fit right now. I'm not going to be able to say yes to that. Whatever language you use that feels authentic and comfortable for you, right? Another thing we can do is start paying attention to the people around us. There are people in our lives who are actually much better at both hearing and saying no than we are. Talk to them about it. Ask them about it. Pay attention to what they do. There are people you know and you work with right now who very authentically, but very compassionately and respectfully say no to other people all the time. Or they hear no and somehow it doesn't rattle them or get them totally thrown off their game. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can just model what the people around us do. Look, no is a tricky word to both hear and to say, but the more comfortable we get with both hearing it and saying it, the better it's going to be for us, and the better it's going to be for the people around us. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. As always, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out links below if you want to stay in touch with me or learn more about my work.